Anytime a white person's hyper woke, I'm always like, I will believe it when I see the action behind it, because I've met all of you in some, like, all of the people in some capacity. You know what I'm saying?
As she spreads her legs, she's like, I'll believe it when I see some action.
Yeah.
Get your face down there.
Every time someone posts Black Lives Matter now, I'm like, but are you doing the work? Have you eaten my pussy? I don't think so.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
It's the vibrator that has no equal. And now, Motor Bunny offers their thrusting sex machine, the Motor Bunny Buck. Enjoy a fan whore discount at manwhorepod.com/motorbunny or use promo code manwhore at checkout. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Shout out to the vaccinated vixens and all the shot in the arm candy. This is Billy Presida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. The Man Whore Podcast, both a sex positive and fully vaccinated show. Hey, hi. This week's guest is fellow comedian and podcaster Kenice Mobley. Kenice, she's a comedian, she's a podcaster, she's a writer, she's a filmmaker, she's a lot of creative things. You may have seen her on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. You may have heard her on Sirius XM Radio. She has her own sex and dating podcast called Love About Town. And I can't wait to share my conversation with her, with you, in a little bit. But first, gotta make a little baby correction. My bad. Last week's episode with my friend Mistress Snow, a.k.a. Professor Snow, a.k.a., if you check her Twitter, Doctrix Snow. And it's Doctrix Snow because she does have her PhD. Last week, I mistakenly referred to her as a PhD candidate. And so, mea culpa, no cock and ball torture necessary, Mistress Snow. I am so sorry. A Man Whore Con is coming up, and it's coming up fast. Oh, I'm so hyped. I'm so excited to just like share a long weekend with some fan whores, you know, some chill vibes, some good people, and maybe like a sexy slutty moment at some point. Who knows? Anything can happen. Man Whore Con is August 12th to August 15th in upstate New York over by Hunter Mountain. And yes, we still do have that one room left. It's one room with 2 queen-size beds. So the reason it's still open is because I get people who say, hey, Billy, I really want to go to Man Whore Con, but the only room is with the 2 beds and they're by themselves. And it's really a room meant for like a couple and another person, or 2 couples, or like 2 friends who want their own beds. So by the way, if any of that sounds like you and some people you know and you want to come hang out with us for 3 nights and 4 days, it's $813 for the weekend. That's it for everybody. And no big deal, but I heard somebody may or may not be bringing some edibles. No big deal. But if you are a solo person, or if you are a couple, but you're a couple by yourself and you still want to come to Man Whore Con and you don't mind sharing a room with someone else, hit me up. Because I would love to try to play matchmaker and see if we can, you know, introduce some people to some people. Hit me up if that interests you. Can't make it to Man Whore Con? Still want to connect with your fellow fan whores and you like that football thing? Yeah, well, the Fan Whore Fantasy Football League is coming back. Yep, it is returning. We are going to be drafting in mid to late August. And we still have a few slots open. We do a half-point PPR league on Yahoo, and it's a $30 buy-in. So you can email me to sign up for that. You can email me to sign up for the Fan Whore Fantasy Football League. You can email me to inquire about Man Whore Con, or you can just email me if you got like comments and questions. You can send any and all of that over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. Longtime listeners of the show know I'm a fan of a little brand called Menagerie. It's a men's lingerie line. It's lace and it's really hot, beautiful stuff, but it's built for boy bodies, right? And because we don't really get sexy clothing options, I feel like. So when I found Menagerie, I was thrilled because they have this like cool high-waisted option. I run my hands on my thighs. I can feel the lace against my skin. I'm like, okay, this is what feeling sexy feels like. Dope. But that doesn't really, there's not a lot of that out there. So I got myself a couple of body stockings over the weekend. And dudes, bros, bruz, homies, fellas, It's very rare that I want to talk to y'all so specifically and directly. If you want to look like a bad bitch, get yourself a good body stocking. One, you're just going to get points on a surprise factor for shitty gendered reasons. Because boys aren't normally in body stockings. Look, he's so confident in it. He's supposed to feel embarrassed. He should feel silly because he's a boy in a body stocking. But he's just confident and owning it. And oh my God, he's kind of hot. I think I kind of want to suck his, I put this fucking body stocking on for Hacienda because I had a really brilliant idea for a costume. I hate doing the costumes. I don't normally think of good costume ideas. My brain doesn't really work in like a fashion way. I'm kind of more of a words guy. The theme was celestial bodies, and I got myself this fishnet body stocking. And then I bought some garland stars from Target, and me and my date, we like put the stars in between the fishnet holes, like kind of all over my body. And then I was the celestial body. I felt fucking hot. I got stopped at that party all fucking night. I went with Lucy Moon, super cute, super hottie, right? I was the one who was getting stopped for his outfit. Oh my God, I love your outfit. Oh shit, Billy, you look really hot tonight. Billy, the way it just accentuates your ass. Can I give you a spanking? So that's my hot tip for the dudes. If you want to do something sexy, you want to pull off a surprise. It's really a maximum payoff for minimum effort thing. It's one piece of clothing. Put it on. You look like you did so much, and yet you did nothing at all. So that's my hot tip on being hot. From the accidental sex symbol, Billy Procida. Folks, I'm able to support myself as an accidental sex symbol and or comedian because in large part of my Patreon community, Fan Whore Nation. I appreciate that y'all show up for me month in and month out. And I want to give a shout out to a couple fan whores, give you all a little bit of a fan whore appreciation moment. Capri Ryman, she said it and forget it with an annual membership. $22 down, and now she just gets to ride out the year enjoying bonus content. Thank you for being a member, Capri, and thank you for supporting the show. Big shout out and thanks to Kathy Biscard, who's, from what I can tell, a member of the Mile High Club. Ooh, girl. Well, member of the Mile High Club in the way that the Denver Broncos are part of the Mile High Club. You know what I mean. I want to say thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the Man Whore Podcast. And you too can support the show and gain access to a slew of great rewards. Become a member today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Support the show at Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Let's go chit chat with Kenice Mobley. I've been fucksing with Motor Bunny for years, and that's because I have never met, felt, or shared a more powerful vibrator than the Motor Bunny. Billy, what's a Motor Bunny? Oh, only the only sex toy you don't have. It's a ride-on-top vibrator, and you can put a variety of attachments on it. And this shit it's like a boat engine with a dildo on top, basically. It's nuts. Admittedly, if you're not like an internal vibration person, or if you're like a low vibration person in general, yeah, this toy's not for you. But if you dig a good vibe, this is it. You can get attachments that go inside you, that go inside a butt. You can, there are grinding pads, so you have to have no insertion at all. But that Hitachi is just not cutting it anymore. And now the Motor Bunny people, not only do they have their classic Motor Bunny, the ride-on-top vibrator, they got a new product out, and I actually got to see it right before COVID hit because I was at the Adult Entertainment Expo and they were showcasing it. But it's a thrusting, vibrating toy. It's a fuck machine. Like I thought the Motor Bunny was a fuck machine before. No. That's just a really big and powerful vibrator. The Motor Bunny buck. Well, honey, it's gonna make you buck those hips back. So. If you want to get $50 off your Motor Bunny, head on over to manwhorepod.com/Motor Bunny. This is one of my favorite things about Motor Bunny is you can finance it. Yeah, everything these days is financed, okay? Our TVs, our cars, our homes, our iPhones, and our vibrators. I believe you can get financing for as little as like $35 a month. So that information is also available at manwhorepod.com/motorbunny. There'll be a link in the show notes to get $50 off. Arguably the best sex toy that exists in the world. And yes, I will stand by that statement even if I am sponsored by other sex toys that want me to say best in the world. Like if you email me and be like, hey, Billy, you said this sex toy is the best one in the world. I'm going to be like, yo, low key, don't tell nobody, but it's still Motor Bunny. manwhorepod.com/Motor Bunny. Now let's get to the show.
Okay, it's good. It's coming. We're talking. It's all this. I think when I started, I thought I knew so much. And throughout the course of the podcast, it's kind of like learning that you know nothing. Like whatever year of like your PhD where you learn that, where you're like, oh, there's like, I didn't understand how wide this could be and how I only know a narrow slice of it. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I've learned, that I know so much less than I thought I did.
Oh my God. What was like one of the early things where you were like, wait, what?
Yeah. Great question. I remember hearing about ethical non-monogamy for the first time and being like, so wait. You're telling me other people don't have like an intense jealousy based on self-esteem issues that they've been dealing with since they were born? What? You mean they just like trust people? No, I don't believe that. Like,
but you know, non-monogamous people get jealous, right?
Yeah, but they have like better ways of communicating and dealing with it and analyzing their feelings. And when I first heard about it, I had none of that. And I still don't know if I have it because I haven't tried it. But I had none of those skills when I first heard about it. And I was like, well, that seems like a great way for me to murder someone. Absolutely not. So, yeah. And then I thought maybe I could do it. And then I was like, you know what, Kenice, you have a lot of work to do on yourself before you try that. When it comes to kinky people versus like completely vanilla people, I appreciate that at least like the BDSM people I know how to talk about consent. Like they know how to like navigate some of like, is this okay? Let's figure this out, because they have to do they have to do like true, like you got to talk about choking and like beating people up and breath play. You got to talk about that before you do it.
Because someone could die.
Exactly. Whereas so many dudes, like, this is me making huge generalizations and I recognize that, but so many dudes are just like, oh, it'll like ruin the moment if we like have a conversation about what we're gonna do. And you're like, but I'd like to not be traumatized. Can we have a conversation about what we're gonna do? You know, like that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're here right now with Kenice Mobley.
Hi.
Co-host of the Love About Town podcast. I was on it a few months ago. Go check that out.
That was a popular episode.
I feel like I blew you and Rohan's mind a little
100%, because I, to the point that we were discussing earlier, I thought I knew a lot. I thought it was very open. I am part prude on my mom's side, I guess. I'm like, it's a thing that I have to recognize as part of me. Yeah.
Did you not think before starting the podcast that you were prudent?
I thought I was wild.
You thought you were crazy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, me, I've done so much. And then
I had sex in a public place once. No one saw us. But
yeah, risky. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've done that one time only. Yeah, I thought I was like super chill, and I was like, nope, not doing that. Ooh, that triggers some weird religion thing. Nope.
What triggered the weird religion thing?
There's something about like, I don't know what it is, but in the same way that like when I was growing up, I had to know the person's middle name before I would like sleep with them.
Really?
Like not seeing a person, something about that is like, I don't know what God thinks about that. Like,
I love not seeing the person at all. Stranger play? You kidding me? If you can do it like safely and authentically, it's my fucking jam.
It sounds great, and there's a part of my brain that likes it, but that part of my brain lives underneath the part of my brain that says disease, criminals, like issues. What if this? And a lot of potential things. That's like, well, you need to at least know their email address. What if something happens? You got to contact them later.
Yeah, email addresses. It's not like just anyone can make one of those.
I know, but something, I don't know, just, I need something, because like, yeah, what if it's like, hey, they discovered this weird thing that lives in women's wetness that can kill you. It's like a skin-eating wetness disease. They just found it. It's like whatever. And I've got it, and I got to tell everybody, and like, oh, I don't know that guy, but now he's got, his dick falls off because I didn't tell him and he didn't go. Get like that. Like that's what is in my head. I'm neurotic. I know. Yes.
You know, the sweet thing about you though is that like it was you want to make sure you could take care of someone else. You're like, if I don't want someone else to be hurt because of like my wet disease pussy thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know that I don't think that's a thing.
I don't think so either.
But like, what if it became like coronavirus didn't exist before and now it's a thing?
Yeah, but you're centering others before yourself, which is like, oh, that's like so nice of her. Like you could, totally focus you. I think email addresses, by the way, great secondary form of thing. But when people say like, what should I send to a friend when I'm doing a stranger play scene? It's like phone number, and then like if you can get like a license plate.
Okay.
Or like if you have an address, if you're going somewhere, some things that like someone can't just like delete from Gmail.
Yes.
Those are good things to do.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like all fantasies can be accomplished safely and responsibly, short of cannibalism. That's my take.
Yeah, of things that turn me on, cannibalism is not one of them. Like, don't get me wrong. There's like, I've looked at images of men and they've like done something violent and there's blood on them. And I've been like, okay, that's not like bad. The idea of like that blood touching me, disgusting.
We're going to wipe you down first.
Yeah. But like, it's not a bad, like as far as, I'm a photographer. The composition on this is great and it does something for me. But yeah, please don't. Blood is something I really, unless it's like my period. No, get it out of here. No, thank you.
But there was a fantasy that we talked about after I did your show. It kind of ended up being this like off mic. Honestly, you missed out on great bonus content for your show with it. But you want to have a threesome with 2 dicks.
I would like that, but I've been analyzing this. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Because I knew we were going to talk about this.
I've been waiting months for this.
I knew we were going to talk about this. Okay. But I've really been looking at like, why do I want that particular thing? And for me, I do think it has something to do with like the low self-esteem that I mentioned earlier. And I'll explain. Like, if I've had issues feeling undesirable my entire life, like it's just a thing, like growing up in a white neighborhood in the South, being black, like other issues, just like I've had issues along that forever. And so I
even say the body word. Like there's already plenty there. You were like, this is all things that make me feel undesirable. Not even the thing like all the standard white bitches feel self-conscious
Yeah.
over.
Not like that. You know? I have those things
Stacey,
as well.
It must be nice to just be worried about that.
Yes. But also, so it's like there's like it's just like it's a bunch of shit. So I'm like, okay, recognize like doing this. It may be fun sexually, but that is not going to provide the type of validation that I'm looking for. Like, there's no way that these 2 penises will finally say, no, we've communicated with all the penises and have decided in some way that we're going to pretend is objective that no, you are a like desirable person. So it's like, why don't I let this fantasy of having 2 guys not saying I'm never going to do it, but definitely saying maybe fix some of your expectations of that interaction and what you're hoping to feel like afterward. Because the fantasy is, yes, that 2 dicks are there, but it's also that I feel like the center of attention in a particular way. And will I even have access to that if I don't work on some of those underlying issues? I don't know. So I definitely have been spending quarantine, like I got a therapist, like I've been focusing on like, maybe don't feel like shit. Like maybe there's a way that you could, I don't know, like yourself. Like I like myself. Okay. I don't know who listens to this podcast. I like myself mostly fine. I'm a cool person, but there's things that I need to work on in order to fully access what I think could be a pretty dope moment. So,
I mean, I'm not solo poly, but something we can definitely lift from the solo poly people is that your most important relationship is with yourself.
Yes.
Right? So,
yes.
I mean, you can't do all the fun, sexy stuff if you are not digging you, because then, I don't know, either in the event or after the event, you're going to like you're going to take away all the fun from it by like, yeah, but that fucking love handle is still sticking out.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, I think, I don't know if we talked about the one experience or the most recent experience I've had at a sex club. Did we talk about that?
You went to a sex club?
This was years before this. I didn't discuss it the last time, but I'm going to be super open and honest.
Does this go into the validation stuff?
Yes.
Okay, cool then.
Yes. This isn't a complete tangent. So I went to this sex club because I was like, hey, I would like to have an experience with multiple people. The whole time I was like nervous and like, I didn't feel great about myself. And like some people talked to me, but somehow I ended up being like that couple's comedic relief versus like a sexual entity, you know? And there was an orgy at the end of the party, like the basement, they put down all of these mattresses and everyone was like going to town. And I look over and they're the only people who aren't participating. It's 3 other women and they're all black women. And there's no one really looking at us, talking to us. We're like talking amongst ourselves. I complimented their hair, you know, like shit like that. But it's like, wow, this feels bad. This feels, and it like I left crying. I had to take the train home afterwards. I mean, I could have called a car, but I was trying to save money. And so I'm just standing on like the J train platform, just bawling my eyes out. And I was like, yeah, I would like to go to another sex club, but not if it's going to feel like this. Because that just like, hey, did you think for a moment that you would get to participate in this fun thing where like race and class and all these other things don't matter because we're all sexual beings? Fuck you, bitch.
Matters
like,
here too.
Yeah. And it was like, wow, this fucking sucks.
It was in Brooklyn?
Yeah, it was in Brooklyn.
So what's hilarious is that like most of the people in that basement who are like not fucking the black chicks think they're incredibly like
they think they're so liberal and woke.
So,
yeah, that is also a
like
fucking
they all like went to the orgy after like a Black Lives Matter protest.
They
but, like,
did.
Wouldn't fuck any of the black women there.
Exactly. And it's like, interesting, very, very interesting. It's also why anytime someone's like hyper woke, like black people, I'm like, okay, but like anytime a white person's hyper woke, I'm always like, I will believe it when I see the action behind it, because I've met all of you in so like all of the people in some capacity. You know what I'm saying?
As she spreads her legs, she's like, I'll believe it when I see some action.
Yeah.
Get your face down there.
I do have a joke about that actually. Cause no, I this time, I think before we were recording, but how I like, my friend told me she wanted, like, she was really nervous to come out to me, and the joke is I wanted to make her feel comfortable. I just like overshot that by a lot, you know? And like, I went down there and, you know, I supported her, and I think she felt loved and valued. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I did a good job. I honestly really think I did poorly. I pulled out my phone in the middle and I was like Googling how to do it, but whatever. Like I tried. I went down there and I tried, and that's the type of support that I think communities need. So every time someone posts Black Lives Matter now, I'm like, but are you doing the work? Have you eaten my pussy? I don't think so. So, yeah, I mean, I don't feel exactly like that, but I kind of feel like that.
But like, I feel like it's kind of fun to like, it must be like a teeny bit fun to like kind of tease like white people with like, who's the last fucking black person fun, and watch them like nervously pull out their phone and be like, I think she's like half, I think, or is it a really good tan?
She was ethnically ambiguous. Like, does that count? Does that count?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Who do I have to eat out to not be in trouble?
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious to watch people like backpedal. Like, no, but like, I mean, have I ever dated a black girl? What's the question? And you're like, come on.
There was that weekend in college.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, okay, yeah. I see that you have all the BLM in your profile and that you don't. That's nice. But truly, like when it comes to, and this is also kind of fucked up on my end, but like I do think what you find attractive does speak to your values. And if you specifically don't find this group of people that has a huge range of phenotypes, body sizes, all of this, if you haven't found anyone within that group attractive enough to like potentially, like, I think that does say something about you.
Look at the last like 20 people someone has had sex with. Okay, I might need to lower that number if like 20 is too high for most people.
Yeah, I was like 20 people. Most people have fucked 20 people, maybe.
I have no.
I was like, in New York, we got to raise that number, but
it's like, okay,
else.
like the last 20 people you made out with, I don't know. It's I'm a big old hoe, and I'm
or masturbated to. Just like really be like, that's what shows what you honestly fucking like. What's the last 20 people you masturbated to?
It is funny. I was once at Auto Shrunken Head, and
yes, I know the place.
I was just doing the mic, and I had my Tinder out, and Neruda was next to me.
Wait, who?
You know Neruda Williams?
Yes, I do.
So Neruda's sitting next to me. I went to the bathroom. I left my phone out unlocked on my Tinder.
Sorry, continue.
Gave him he was like, "You on Tinder?" I was like, "Here, you can have it." He swiped for me. He's like, "Okay." Came back from the bathroom, hands me the phone back. He's like, "I swiped right on some black chicks. You fucking racist." I was like,
I have seen this because I was standing over. I'm not going to say the comedian's name. He's now in a healthy, happy relationship, of course, with a white woman. But he was flipping on his phone, and I saw him. He was doing it so fast, but it was like very clear. Like, oh, every black woman you're swiping left on. Like, do you see that you're doing? Do you notice, or is this like a mental thing for you? Because it's very clear for anyone watching you that you're like so quickly deciding, ooh, couldn't possibly be worth my time.
But I think he was looking at my matches, and I was like, I don't know that it's like I'm not attracted to black women. I don't think black women are attracted to me. It's like at some point it's out of my hands.
I would say that, but I will also say black women are so nice. And what I mean by that is like, I know black women with some of the most busted people you've ever seen in your life. And so, yeah, I think we're really nice and giving and open, but I think we're with some people who are straight garbage because I think a lot of Black women feel as though their options are limited. And that is why I see I'm like, him? And I'm sorry, I'll be single until I die. The thing that is going to make me want someone like actively, like really desire them is personality based. So it's rude to say like, oh, this guy's so ugly and she must be like, feel like she has no other options. But I do think that someone who doesn't look like they take care of themselves, that I
Right, there's a difference between like ugly and like slovenly.
yes, exactly.
Right.
I think when people often are
There are
talking
hot
about
people who can look busted just because they don't take care of themselves.
exactly, and there yes, there are. But like, yeah, that level of like taking care of yourself, because regardless of the bone structure that God gave you and like weight things, you can look put together. Like you can look like, oh, he's doing something, like he knows what he's going for and he's achieving it. Do you know what I'm saying? But some of these guys, it looks like you couldn't make a decision and that's your whole life. Like
when they say you're a big guy and you should grow a beard, not on the neck. It's like you're growing this part of the beard.
Also, I feel this way about women's hairs too, but like there's a certain length at which it's not doing anything for you. Like it's not helping you in any, like, I grew up in the South. I know a lot of horse girls with like hair down to like below their butts. And it's like, do you think this is helping? Like what, this is doing nothing for your face. Like once it gets past like boob, maybe mid boob navel situation, it's like, that's not doing anything for you. Cut it, let it frame a little bit, let it play, you know? Similarly with a beard, I'm like, yes, I understand that you're trying to sculpt a chin. And I think that's great. And I think that's your right. Men are shamed if they wear makeup, grow a beard. You know what I'm saying? But the second it gets down, like, if I can braid it, and I'm not good at braiding, I'm not like a lady who can do cornrows tight. If I can braid it and I'm bad at braiding, it's too long.
I don't know. I wasn't even necessarily talking about length. It's like the source of the beard. The neck beard guys who are like, they're letting all this just grow. Like this is, I shaved this up yesterday. And this is like every nice. 2 or 3 days. Shit, we're cleaning up this neckline. And you're supposed to grow your beard from the face, not from the neck.
I would agree with that 100%. But I do think some dudes, they're just like, no, more beard equals better. And they just let it go down. And when I look at that, I talked to my therapist about it and he's like, Kenice, you have some issues. And I accept that. But I was like, when I see a beard that extends so far off the face, all I can think is, what is in that? And if I fuck that man, what is going to fall on me? And I don't think that's
like, actually, you don't need to eat me out.
Yeah.
I don't need to like dig in and find something later. Be like, oh, goodie bag.
Yeah, I don't. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm sorry. Like, this is judgmental. I recognize that I sound judgmental, but it is what I feel deeply. And I wish that I didn't have to think about that.
So what do you need to like feel more validated, like just in your love life and sex life, love life, just all encompassing? What does Kenice need to improve here so you can go out and get all of it?
All of the dicks.
You know?
Yes. I need to improve the way that I perceive any rejection because I'm bad at that. And I take it as I'm getting better at this. As I analyze like why I reject people, it's easier to say like, it's not because I think that that's a bad person. It's because I'm not interested in what they're offering at this moment for whatever reason. Other things are going on in my life, etc. But looking at that and saying, probably other people are experiencing that as well. When someone doesn't want to date you, fuck you, whatever, it's not some sort of referendum on your value as a human being. And like getting some of that basic stuff fixed in my brain. Yeah.
Yeah. The play party community, I'm part of Hacienda, which
I have heard of them.
They're nice, and that is a party I feel like you could have a nice magical time at.
Nice.
And so they do. If it's your first time there, you have to go to the consent workshop beforehand, and the phrase that they teach, they actually make you practice saying no. They will do a whole thing. They'll be like, "We're gonna have everybody pair up, find somebody new, and then you're gonna ask them to do a thing." You can make it really funny and absurd. You can make it realistic. You're going to ask them like, hey, can I go down on you? And then you are going to say no.
No. Yeah.
And you're both going to practice giving and receiving no's.
Ooh,
and
okay.
when you give the no, you say, however you give it.
Yeah.
Probably not like, ugh, fucking no.
That's rude.
But you give it a variety of ways. You can say, no, thank you, maybe later. Or I'm not really in the mood for that right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not really into the parts that you got on you, but thanks anyway. And then the other person's supposed to reply, thank you for taking care of yourself.
Okay.
Well, that's how we teach to handle a rejection.
Yeah.
It's not like a affront upon me. This is a person doing what's best for them.
Right.
And if we're not centering ourselves in pleasure all the fucking time,
right,
then we're just like happy, like, oh, I'm so glad you didn't let me go down on you because it sounds like you wouldn't have liked that.
Yeah.
And then that would have been terrible for you, which would end up being terrible for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, awesome.
That makes sense. That makes 100% sense. I still need to fix my brain to feel that way when a guy that I like is like, what?
So now how are you? So you're off in the dating world now.
I am.
Now that we're vaxxed for however long this whole thing's going to last.
Yeah. Please, if we need a third shot, just give me the third shot. I just don't want to deal with this anymore.
I think you were alone. You were single and alone for most of the...
Yeah. I mean, I never call someone my boyfriend because when I say boyfriend, girlfriend, what I mean is, I think, much more serious than what other people mean when they say boyfriend, girlfriend. Yeah. What I mean is, like, you can represent this relationship as an organization without me. So, like, if you go to a party and you see a bunch of people, you know me well enough to agree or not agree to do something based on your knowledge of me. So, like, hey, I was at a party and... this couple said that they were having an event and they were going on a weekend to the Hamptons. And I said we would go. I want that person to know me well enough to be able to say, oh, yeah, she would like that, or she wouldn't fucking like that. No. Like,
or I know I need to ask her, but that sounds like a good idea.
Yes. Like someone who has that level of knowledge of me and I have that level of knowledge of them, that we could both equally represent the other person's interest if they weren't there. There are very few people I'm willing to call my boyfriend. Like, I'm like, no.
Have you never had that?
I've had boyfriends, but it's...
No. The level of like kind of intimacy and like mutual knowledge and...
I never get there. Mm-hmm. I get close to there, and then I'll call someone my boyfriend, or they'll start calling me their girlfriend, and I'm like... I don't think we had a discussion about that. Okay.
Which is proving case in point that they don't know you enough.
Exactly. to know that, like, that's a conversation that we would have to have. And they're like, but we have, and it's like, we have a relationship. I'm giving you that. I'm giving you that 100%. We are relating. We are in person together. But we need to have conversations before we attach labels to this. Just because this is what you think a girlfriend is, that's not what I think a boyfriend is. So, do you feel like you've been, despite that, do you feel like you've been in love? I've definitely been in love at parts of my life. I haven't been in love in a while. I will say that. I've liked people, but I think as I'm getting older and I'm realizing more of what I like and what I'm willing to deal with and what I'm like, you know what, I'd rather not deal with that. There's like fewer and fewer people that I like find attractive. And there's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. In the way that like seeing them would make me wet, I find lots of people attractive, okay? Tons of people. But when it comes to like who I'm like, ooh, I genuinely want to spend time with this person and sleep with them and do all that, that number of people has dramatically shrunk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love analogies and I speak in analogies and metaphor constantly. But it is like, I don't know, I don't know cars well enough, but for some reason a motor is coming to mind. But like something has to happen, but another process has to be moving along at the same pace or else it doesn't work. Like for me, the attraction has to build as does the knowledge of their bullshit. And if the attraction dips below the knowledge of their bullshit, then I'm like, I'm out. I can't. Why am I here? I don't want to be here. So.
I'm dating a lady right now who seems like the sweetest, nicest human. It's been a couple months and I'm starting to like very explicitly solicit, can you tell me why you're a bad person?
Oh yeah.
Because you might be one of the very few nice people, just sincerely nice people out there. But I refuse to believe that ever again. So can you give me some negatives?
Yeah.
And so
it's also hard to get to that. Like I try to present as a nice and rational and reasonable person. And for me to show like my genuine shittiness and like hateful and spiteful and petty and
hear you argue about like this person got this spot.
Yeah, like that takes a while. Like the only person who really hears that is like Rohan hears that. My twin sister hears that. There's like 5 comedians. If they walk into the room, I'm like, thank God, because now I can talk my shit. Like, so it does take me like for dating wise. Yeah, it takes me a while to get to the point where I'm like comfortable being shitty.
How close was the closest you feel like you got?
I dated I was like that. The last person who I dated for a longer time, and a longer for me is truly 3 months.
Wow.
It was 2 years ago, and he was like nice, and he hadn't shown me his shitty, so I didn't show him my shitty. There was a guy who was earlier that year, also 3 months. I showed him my shitty, but then he showed me way more shitty than I could deal with very quickly. Where it was like, oh, you have a history with what sounds borderline like assault to me. And the way that you're describing that so cavalierly makes me really concerned. Yeah.
They said I choked her or something, but I don't know. I feel like my hands were gently wrapped around her throat.
More like, I mean, specifically sexual, more like describing past things where it's like, so it was clear that she didn't want to do the thing and you still did it. And you seem to think that like, if someone does something that you don't like, they owe you for certain things and that you can do things that they don't want to do because they owe you. And like, yeah, it just got real grimy real fast. And then he demonstrated that to me in a way
and
that I
that's
was
the
like,
closest to loving boyfriend that you've been. I'm so.
that's not the closest. I wasn't. Okay, actually, this does sound super fucked up now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, wow, this is therapy.
Everyone's just like, oh no, what can we do to help?
Oh, please don't. No, I
Can people send their
abhor
cousins
pity.
and nephews like, here, we got some nice boys.
No one ever sets me with anyone because I'm a mean person. But
Is that your shitty?
wait, that's my shitty. Is that I'm kind of mean.
Before I realized that was the closest you got, and I was gonna be like, well, what's your shitty stuff? But wait, that's the closest you got. You feel like
no, okay. I dated someone for 3 years in high school, and then every time I threatened to leave, or every time I said I didn't want to do that anymore, he said he was going to kill
really
himself.
Took back that threatened word real quick.
Well, I'd be like, I don't think we should date anymore, and he'd be like, I'm going to kill myself, and then I'd be like, don't do that. And so like that was fucked up, and then I didn't date anyone for a very long time after that. Yeah,
I'm surprised you date. Because I assume you're like roughly my age, like a 30 something, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
like why do you after all this time of that when these are the two standard bearers?
Yeah,
I'm like surprised you even bother. It's like,
I like orgasms with other people, and so I
Right.
try to get them. And I love the idea of like loving someone deeply enough that I would put their needs in front of my own and supporting each other in a way that I feel is healthy. But most people I don't want to support that way. And I don't feel have the capacity. Like a lot of guys that have tried to date me want a sidekick. And I'm like, honey, no. If anyone's the sidekick in this interaction, it's you. What are we talking about? I am not coming off as a nice person on this podcast, and I accept that. I don't want a sidekick. I want someone who has their own shit and is like doing their thing. But I refuse, like, because I have dated some people who are like, don't have anything going on, and I'm not going to be a sidekick to that. Like, you don't have any passion at all. You don't have anything you're pursuing creatively. You have no dreams or desires outside of truly this very moment.
for some people, it's that version, but it's the unsureness. It's more like a longing to want to have a purpose, but not knowing. And, which
that kills me.
The only time I've had that once with a girlfriend I dated almost 2 years, but she was also young enough where it was like it was an acceptable amount of uncertainty, but it was so interesting how stark the difference was, because you know, by the time we broken up, I had quit my day job doing this full time.
Yeah.
It was like, I very much knew what I was doing. I was already doing what I was doing. I was building something of my own.
Building something is so important to me. And
I want to go out? No, okay. Okay.
I don't want to date anyone who's not building anything anymore. Like, that's like a strong, like,
if you're a car mechanic, then like, if you're setting up, my dad always said he didn't care what we were as long as you're trying to be the best at it.
I think striving is super important. And I'm not asking for anyone who's like, breaking their necks or ambitious to a fault, although sometimes I do find that hot, I'll admit that. But like, just caring, like, I don't want everyone who's doing comedy to be trying to do the best at comedy. But if you know where you are and you like it and you're building skills year over year, that in and of itself is an accomplishment, and it shows that you are growth oriented. I am tired of dating people who aren't growth oriented. Like, and I really hope that that's not.
It doesn't mean money. It doesn't mean a certain thing. It can be so many things. It can be therapy. Like,
it can.
Getting in therapy is growth oriented.
Yes, exactly. Right? Someone who says like, and it doesn't, some people act like that is not being happy with the present. It's something that it's a balance that you have to strike, where you say, in this moment, I recognize the things that I have, the things that I've done, and I can be pleased with that, and that's worthwhile, while also saying, I like gaining new skills and I like advancing year over year, and I like that. And so I'm going to continue pursuing that. And so, yeah, the thing that I was worried about, sometimes I'll say a phrase and someone will be like, oh yeah, that's from this terrible person or cult group or something. And I'm like, oh shit, no, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like growth oriented in exactly what those two words mean together. If you put them together.
I totally heard you the way you meant it.
Thank you. I was like, shit, is that one of those goddamn things?
Yeah.
Okay.
It can look, it can be money. It can be a profession.
Yes.
It can be a lot of things, just so long as you're not trying to stay where you are. Especially, look, if you're in your 50s, 60s, you want to stay where you are, you know what? You probably earned it.
Yes.
But like right now, we are in a time to like just try to kick life's ass.
Like also, you can love the thing, but like, come on, like, let's get better. And also, and this is the thing that the couples that I not look up to, but there are some couples that I'm like, that I really like what they're doing, you know? But like they both, the sum is better than the parts, you know? Like they both help each other and support each other in a way that means both of them are better able to achieve their goals, whatever those goals may be. And that is what I want. And people who I feel can't do that, or I feel like my goals are truly suffering by being around you, then I'm like, I have to go. Like, and that is what my friends make fun of me. They're like, Kenice has a hard 3-month out. And it's like, that is not true. I would love to date someone for more than 3 months. But 3 months is enough time for me to be able to assess, am I better or am I not better? Am I happy or am I not happy? And I assess that and okay, every time. I was about to say, and most of the time, but it's every time. I'm like, I don't think I'm not I don't feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about like, you know, someone like an ideal romantic partner, at least for me, is someone who's going to try to push me to be the best me I can be. Because I know that alone I can try, but like I want someone who's going to help push me.
Exactly.
And I want to be able to push you.
Yes.
And not, I mean, you know, 3 months in, it's not my place to say certain things, but if we date a year, 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to be able to like say like, hey, look, have you thought about this? Have you noticed this in yours? Because I hope you're fucking doing that to me. Yeah. Because how the fuck am I supposed to get better? Blindly trying to self-improve.
We're all trying, but it is useful to have like, in the same way that like I wouldn't submit a script for a big thing without getting another set of eyes on it, just as a sanity check. Yeah. Please give me a sanity check. Like I appreciate that.
And if you're polyamorous, then you could get multiple people to sell to.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can make a whole little polyamorous writer's room.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's like,
you could.
Everyone pass your packets around.
Yeah, there's a show. Yeah. I think that's a show. If you haven't made it, I think you should pitch it. But and I recognize in saying that, similarly to the threesome conversation, there's a lot of work that I have to do on myself before I feel like theoretically, in the way that anyone can feel like theoretically, they'd be a good partner. But I know that I have to fix some of that, like, this other person will validate me garbage that's in my brain before I like really jump into something. And maybe I don't. Maybe that's just a thing I'm telling myself to prevent me from like getting close to other people. But I still do want to be like a really good version of myself just on my own. Like I've been able to, I made a list when I was 3 years ago. Don't worry about how old I am. That's not important.
Look,
okay.
Casting directors do not listen to my podcast.
Okay, good. I was like,
this is a safe space.
Cool. No, industry.
I like to fly under the industry radar.
Based on some recent podcast experience, I don't know who's fucking listening to what. So I'm just going to say 3 years ago, I made a list of like what I hope to accomplish. And I've accomplished most of the things on that list. There's still a few things that I'm like, I add more to the list as time goes on, but like, I'm pretty good. Like I feel like I've got the things that I want, and I would love to be happy with that, regardless of if there's another person in the picture. So that's what I'm going to work on. This one thing that I can control that does not involve other people. And so I'm going to keep working on me, and maybe someone else will come along that I want to date for more than 3 months, and maybe it never will. Maybe I'll just date. I'll have 3-month flings until I die. But honestly, is that bad? Like I don't think that that's a terrible life, especially if it fulfills me. So we'll see.
Again, most important relationship is with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, hey, if you're just like, hey, I just need people who are going to help me come occasionally. You know, I have to, now the threshold is just who can I tolerate for, 30 minutes to 3 hours at a time.
Ideally 3 hours,
right?
But,
you can tend to put up with more bullshit in such a shorter time frame.
So if it's 30 minutes, I can deal with a lot for 30 minutes. But like, I'm very lucky to be in this point in my life when it's like, there's so many places where I don't have to deal with bullshit. Why would I deal with bullshit with this? Like, I don't want to, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So who's helping you come these days?
Okay, so there's one guy who is he's putting in work and he is nice, but I don't think I don't think either of us is looking for long term with each other,
Sure.
as it were.
Mutual acknowledgement that this is not that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think I've communicated that, but I'm hoping that he knows it. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be great.
He's a nice boy.
He is a nice boy.
You really should tell him.
I should.
Okay. As a former nice boy, you really should let him know. Nice boys love to ideate and romanticize something that is not that.
That has happened to me many times. So yes, you're right. I should make that much clearer. I do want a nice person, of course. I want someone who is... No, I don't want a nice person. I want a good person, and they don't have to be nice. I think I am a good person. Am I nice? Some people would say so. Some people would certainly not say so.
Go drop your thoughts on whether or not Kenice is nice in the Champagne Room, our Discord server.
Yes,
everyone.
Please. You can say that I'm not nice, and that's totally fine. I think I am kind, and I think that is more valuable to me. So I want someone who is kind and good, but isn't necessarily nice.
Is the nice boy good in bed?
We don't have to get into that. We don't have to get into that.
Okay, that's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah,
we'll work on it. He's putting in work. He's reading books or something.
Yes. No, it's perfectly fine. There are things that I've communicated which I think that he gets where my interests lie, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't get where my interests lie. So we'll see.
Are your interests the thing you would like to stray away from? Or can I ask you where your interests lie?
I'm a basic Brooklyn girl. I have some submission things that I like, and sometimes the opposite of that. But we gotta get into that. We gotta negotiate that and figure it out. So yeah, I think he'd be terrified if I did. I don't think he'd be terrified, but he would be like, what? If I was like, this is okay, I need you to do A, B, C. Right when you get to C, you need to switch it up and do a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna hit you. I think he'd be. I've only hit a guy a couple times.
I only hit, but don't worry, I only hit guys when I come. It's a bam. It's a pound.
That'd be so fucked up.
It's you're inside me. I'm clenching and pow.
Yeah. No, I've only hit one guy because he asked me to hit him, and then he acted surprised. One thing that frustrates me is that I'm not a weak lady. I've taken Krav Maga for a year. I can punch. I can throw a punch. And this guy was like, hit me. And I hit him. And then he was so upset that I hit. I was like, you told me to hit you. So that's why we should have communication is really important.
But some DS dynamics, it sounds like,
yes.
is a thing you're...
And how do this is also probably part of my overall issue, and I recognize that, and I'm hearing it, and I know you guys are like, go to therapy, and I'm like, I do go to therapy, and you guys might be listening and be like, go to therapy more then.
I know none of these people are going to therapy because they did not use my Talkspace promo code. So you guys got to go to therapy first with promo code MANWHORE. It's probably expired now, but sorry, keep going.
Those dynamics I like a lot, but they only work if I feel a certain way about a person. And that is I've described it and someone was like, Kenice, that's not a thing. But what I mean, it's a little hard for me to articulate, but what I mean is if someone doesn't, to me, display some level of moral authority, then I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm not doing it. It's I need them to be someone who I respect in a certain way, and then they can do dumb shit.
It's not the impact play in and of itself.
Yes.
Right? It is, there's a mentality, there's a subspace you would like to experience.
Yes.
You would like to feel oh, fuck, this guy's a lot more. I gotta all of a sudden get on my knees. And I didn't even think about it. I'm just I'm ready. Yes, sir. Where did that sir come from?
Yeah, exactly. Because if the person, I'm just fuck you. Truly, I'm whatever, idiot. If I feel that way about a person, then and they try to do that, I'm like, whatever. It just doesn't happen in that. It doesn't fulfill the desire that I want if I don't feel that way about them.
Have you gone to experience that the way you do want to experience it?
Yes.
Okay, so you have an idea of I've done the thing.
I know it exists. I know the thing that I want is not just a weird blip in a brain that doesn't really exist that I'll chase until I die. I know it's not that. Because I've had some people do the business, and I'm like, you did the business.
Is there a certain power dynamic you like to mimic? Is it is it a role play thing? Is it in your mind? Is this your sir? Is this like a master, which I mean in BDSM ways, or it could be master in the race play ways, which is also an option.
No. If someone starts doing race play at me,
oh, that's definitely one. We talk about that. Everybody,
you gotta talk about that
honestly,
shit.
You don't bring it up. If you're not
I
black,
bring it up,
yeah, it's like you bring it up.
Yeah.
I definitely don't bring it up. I did answer an ad when things were dying down last summer, when like we all here in New York thought like maybe we could fuck a couple people.
Yeah.
I answered an ad that was for a race play, and it turned out it was another comedian.
Interesting.
She ended up doing the podcast. Her name's Kit Williams. I don't know if you know her, but
I don't know if I know her.
So she put on that, wants to do race play, wants to do a phone call. Like it was a random acts of Muff Dice. So she wanted to do race play with me going down on her. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but like I'm very open minded. So but we do a phone call, and she's like talking me out. By the end of the phone call, it wasn't that she didn't want me to go down on her, but she's like, I don't think I could do race play. You just sat and I'm not feeling it. I don't think I'm gonna believe you're too nice. I don't think like you could really be mean about it.
How do I put this? And you don't give this off, but there are some nice guys who give this off where it's like they're nice until there's a moment where there's a turn, and then it's like borderline psychopathy, and you're like, oh, I don't feel safe. Like there's some nice guys where I get that feeling, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. Thank you, no thank you, no thank you, because I don't want to see where that turn is, because I've seen nice guys turn, and I'm like, no, I don't want that.
I mean, that can happen inside the bedroom, outside the bedroom. That can happen whether or not we're doing race play or not.
That's
sadly.
true. But I certainly don't want to see that turn with the N-word. I don't. I have heard it. I don't need it again. Thank you.
I wasn't even sure answering that if I was like gonna be able to do it, but I was like, this is different.
Yeah.
I like different. And worst case scenario is like, you know, when we're with respectful adults, we can always like say red and stop.
Exactly.
Which includes me.
Yes.
I'd be like, ooh, I said it, felt real. Can we not? Can I call you like a dumb bitch instead?
Yeah.
Wench? No, we haven't thrown wench around in a while.
Yeah, that's true. What is it? Oh, there's a line in the Avengers that Loki says, it's like a sniveling mew or something. I don't know. That is like old-timey meanness, and that works, but don't ever call me the N-word. I'll kill you. Yeah. The guy who threatened to kill himself in high school was a white guy. We dated for 3 years. He also said that like being black was like wearing glasses, and I was like, I don't think you understand like what the dynamics are of that. And he just was, yeah. I was like, you can take your glasses off. If you're in a group of non-glasses wearers and you're the only glasses wearer, no one's like, why is that person there? Like, just a variety of things. And he just like did not get it. He was a Bush Republican. I made mistakes, you know. I'm admitting that. But yes, I've dated a fair number of white gentlemen, not gentle actually. And that has definitely been an issue, and that is why I had to stop dating some people.
Oh, so we wouldn't enter the bedroom, but it was just like an issue in the relationship.
Yes. And sometimes they would like push for things or think that like, oh, black woman, and like they'd have completely weird preconceived notions based on that. And it's like, don't ever do that. Why would you think that I like that? Like,
if I can play innocent cherub for a moment, what are the preconceived notions?
Some things,
you already know what I was going to ask.
Yeah. No, it's not. No, some of it is like, oh, you're a black girl, so you must like only fuck black guys with huge dicks. So like, I'm sorry that my dick is small. Can you like make fun of how small my dick is? And it's like, I don't. Or be like, hey, can you like make fun of me specifically as a white guy with a small dick? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Also, your dick is regular. Is that what you wanted? Was this like a middle school girl trying to get a compliment? You wanted me to say your dick was regular, so you did all this shit in advance. Yeah, it's a mess. So yeah.
Well, it's also because like things like small penis humiliation, like that stuff can come up. You don't have to bring race into it.
Yeah, you can just have a small penis. Why does it have to be because you're white? And you can just have one.
Theoretically, in like a long-term trusting, loving relationship, like where one can bring up kind of anything in a safe space if they're okay with hearing the no, like you could ask that, but like you've never last more than 3 fucking months. Yeah. So it's definitely not long enough.
Yeah. So I will one day date someone for longer than 3 months, maybe, or I'll die. I don't know. It's either one.
I think we all hope that for you.
Thanks. We'll see. I also am like, I recently moved in by myself. I'm very particular about my space and who's in it. And like, yeah, like a guy came over and he was eating something. My couch is like, I moved in by myself relatively recently. My couch is new. He got chocolate on my couch. I was like, you're fucking dead to me. He's not dead to me, but it is a thing that's like definitely in the Rolodex. Like he doesn't respect other people's property, or what is this? Like,
so it's like, and I feel like the little things like that, then you start raising the bar. It's like, well, they better be much better at the sex stuff to be able to do some of this shit.
Or just have some other if you've made so many dings that you have to have some super strong other thing, then at a certain point, it's like, what do we do? Like, yeah, just there wasn't enough there to justify like, oh, they spilled some stuff and they like stood in the way as I was cooking. This is rude, but whatever. Or like they did all these little things that I'm from the South and I will acknowledge that I have like a strong idea of like etiquette and like manners and things like that. Even though I'm rude, I get it. I hear you, person who's criticizing me in my own head. But if someone else has no semblance of manners or the self-awareness to see when they're in the way, when they're not in the way, when they should offer help, when they shouldn't offer help, some of that stuff, I'm not asking for a mind reader, but there are some basic things that I've seen people be able to do. And when someone isn't able to do them, it's a really big turnoff.
Yeah. The lack of a social IQ in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, you're pretty, you do this thing, but like, Jesus, you're kind of it's infuriating to be around you.
Yeah, it's like if I have dread about you being in my space, then I'm not going to come as much. I'm not going to enjoy myself because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm coming now, but later, okay, am I going to have to call a fucking couch cleaner or like, shit. Wait, if that's the thing that I saw, what else? I should just sweep. I'm going to sweep and I'm going to Swiffer. Okay, how much time? Okay, if he leaves at this, like, and if I'm thinking about that, I'm not thinking about fucking, like, yeah. So that's, yeah. And yes, I know I'm neurotic. I'm always doing this thing where I like try to counter the counter argument. It's because
no one's yelling at you.
Exactly. I was like, I've lived a life where my experience has been invalidated constantly, so I feel the need to justify it and play devil's advocate against myself. But yeah, that is my experience. And you know what? I'm going to own it. That's what I feel. If I have to worry about cleaning, we're not going to fuck anymore. You know what? Don't be dirty. Or be dirty in your own home, but I swear to God, if you're dirty in my house, please leave.
Into it. Yeah. Before I go into the plug thing, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if I would love about town, like I wanted to ask, would you say like there's a good chunk of things that you were really shocked to learn, find out, etc., that like we could do like a little 10-minute bonus episode, or because I also want to put you on the spot and you're like, there's actually not really anything there, then like totally forget it and say no.
Yeah. I think that this is something that is one of those recent things that I was like, oh, this is a thing and an assumption that I've made that I've never questioned. And that someone was like, wait, pause, what? And I was like, yeah, of course this would happen. And they're like, why? And then I had to be like, you know what? That's a great question. And I've truly never thought about it. Yeah. Do you want me to say it now, or?
Oh no. So we'll do a little bonus episode. You can share some more things you've learned from doing the Love About Town podcast.
The Love About Town podcast, which will be back at some point.
Available wherever you listen to the Man
They
Whore
Podcast,
Podcast, everybody.
They are available. There's a bunch of them there, so search it, find it.
Start with mine.
Yeah.
But we'll do a little of that. Maybe I'll even be able to clear a couple things up for you if you're still confused, lost on anything.
Yeah.
And yeah. So Patreon people, you'll hear that tomorrow. But for now, Kenice, where can people find you? Not like your address. Don't worry, it's okay.
Yeah. I was like,
where like on the internet? Where can they find you?
I am Kenice Mobley on all of the platforms. That is Twitter. That is Instagram. I think it's even TikTok, but I truly don't know how to use it, so I just have a profile and I've never uploaded anything. That is Venmo, baby. Remember that? Money. Ladies love it. Okay. I have the podcast, which is Love About Town. I have an Instagram live show, which I love. It's called Make Yourself Cry, where people, I am a notoriously bad crier, so I get my friends to show me.
When you say bad crier, do you mean like incapable of doing, or do you mean like an ugly crier?
I mean, when I do cry, it is unattractive, highly. But I also don't do it very often. I don't do it very often personally, but also like my friends are like, anytime I see a Pixar movie or anytime I see this, and I'm like, I liked it. I felt nothing, no tears. So they show me the things that make them cry to see if it makes me cry. And they add the context before it of like the emotional weight for them and like their experience and all this. And then we'll watch it together. And sometimes I cry and sometimes I don't.
Do I have a flash mob wedding proposal video for you later? Oh gosh. Okay, keep going.
I will admit that it sounds really bad, but like people have shown me so many things, the most terrible things they could think of, dying animals, like sad, sick children, etc. And some of it I'm just like, I hear you and I want you to feel seen, but when I see this, I can only laugh at the bad music cues. Can I be honest? Or like, this kid is such a bad actor. Like Because, yeah, there's a broken part of me and I accept that. But that is the show. It is Tuesdays at 10 on Instagram Live. And I just joined Planet Scum. So the third Thursday of every month. Check it out. Make yourself cry. And then there's another thing I do. Oh, The Lab, a very Black experimental comedy show, which is at Friends and Lovers. Check my Insta for dates and details because it is a hoot.
And I'll have links to all of that in the show notes. Patreon people, you'll hear more tomorrow. But for now, Kenice, why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Bye. Please don't feel sorry for me. I swear to God, I'm a healthy, happy person. Okay. I know I did not give that off. Okay, I'm sorry. Bye.
All of my $5 and up Patreon members will hear my bonus episode with Kenice tomorrow, exclusively at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I didn't know I needed to say this, but apparently I do. So just a heads up, if you're one of those people who are already on Patreon and you have the app, you have to actually become a member on desktop. Or like open an Internet Explorer browser on your phone because I'm adult content. You can't search for me within the app until you're already a member. Weird, stupid thing. I wish we could just be whores openly on the internet, but apparently, dick talk is scary. So again, head on over to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I'd love to know what you thought about this week's episode. Do you think Kenice is too mean? Do you think she's too hard on herself? I'm more for the latter position. I think she's great, but let me hear if you think she's great or not. You can join the conversation in the champagne room in our episode discussion channel. Come introduce yourself at manwhorepod.com/Discord. And you can see links to all of my social media, all of Kenice's social media in the show notes of this episode. If you want to email me with your comments, your questions, your criticisms, you can send any and all of that over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. If you made it this far, you deserve to be the first ones to know that, well, on Saturday afternoon last week, we did the Pepsi Challenge. And I believe it was a great success. Oh, what a very oral afternoon I am so excited to share with you. So stay tuned for that. And yes, we will try to make sure there are some blowjob noises included. Because I know all of you who listen this far, like to the very, very end, bunch of fucking perverts. I love you all. Stay slutty.